So it's a good question because people qualify in UX these days, which wasn't possible when I was coming up through college. I guess I've always been in UX, and I think a lot of people working in the field who don't have a formal education in design or UX, they find themselves responding this way to that kind of question. I've always been in UX. I've been a fixer. I've been a fiddler forever. I can't leave well alone. I'm always interested in making something better than it is. I started my career as a journalist. I worked in marketing communications in France for many years, moved into digital and the internet there in 1999-2000, and from there to America, where I began working in UX formally, officially. It was on the business card. And then moved back here in 2008 to continue that. So it's been a winding road, but again, I think like a lot of people who are my kind of age and at my kind of stage in their career in UX and design, I think we found ourselves here because we know we've always been here. It just took us a while to find somebody who was giving it a name and somewhere we could hitch our wagon. So this is one of the big challenges of UX, and even people who've heard of UX, it's still difficult to describe what we do. And there are so many different ways to do it. I don't believe anyone's really cracked it. Depending on the audience, if it's someone who's genuinely never heard of UX, then it's easy to make comparisons. So architects and interior design, so a mashup of architecture and interior design. I've heard that used, I've seen it be very effective, and that's fair enough. I think what we do is a composite of what an architect does, what an interior designer does, at a very, very simple level. At a much simpler level, removing any kind of analogy at all, you're talking about just making stuff easier to use, more pleasurable to use, just improving the experience of using stuff. When we're trying to talk about it in terms of the value, but again in reasonably abstract terms for somebody that doesn't necessarily know much about it, I'd like to think that we're the guys responsible for how you feel when you love using something, and particularly obviously digital products and services, but we're behind that. We're behind that experience, we're behind that emotion, we're behind that feeling. So I think there are many connections between improvisation and innovation. The number one being that innovation is often a product of improvisation. Improvisation is hard. You have to be very, very good at something. You have to have learned the rules and absorbed the rules in order to be able to break them, which is what improvisation is, I guess. It's the freedom to experiment confidently within a set structure, understanding where and why to break the rules. And that's often, not always, but that's often where innovation originates. In music as in design, and that's one of the things we'll be talking about on the 23rd.